The rebels have been told to get out, David. Is there any sign that that is happening? What have they said?
Well, definitely not, John. They've been given, as you say, until midnight by the African Union as well as regional leaders to get out of Dodge, as it were, to leave Goma, the important regional capital which they took last week under the noses of a large UN peacekeeping force and leaving the Congolese army in its wake. They're saying absolutely not. They have to stay in Goma. Their feeling is that they'll only go to the negotiating table if they can get a sense that they get what they want, and then only they will leave Goma. The others are saying they want them to leave and then negotiate. So a very dangerous impasse in the situation. In the meantime, in the last few days, John, M23, the rebel group, which went out of the army earlier this year, has been pushing west of Goma, opening up 2 new front lines to the north and the south. My contacts are saying that there's a large buildup of M23 rebels to the west of Goma, and that the Congolese army is also building up near that area, so we could see a fight in the coming days. However, at the same time, there seems to be these backroom negotiations going on between M23 and others. They say they want to meet and talk face-to-face with Joseph Kabila, the president of Congo, to get what they want, which is essentially more autonomy in the east, to get key positions of power and most likely patronage in this very volatile section of the Congo.
And David, caught in the middle of these warring groups, if you like, 1,000 UN peacekeepers, the most expensive UN peacekeeping mission in the world, and a lot of questions about their ability to do this job.
Well, the UN will tell you that their purpose in the Eastern Congo is to protect civilians. That's in fact their mandate. It's clear that they took this decision to not get in between the Congolese army and M23 when they pushed into this urban center of Goma. Now, that might be the case, but they've faced withering criticism from within the Congo. Civilians there in other parts of the country are storming UN headquarters and protesting, saying, what's the point of this large and expensive force if they don't, in fact, hold key cities? The UN says it's not their job to be a national army of the Congo. The Congolese army is underpaid, often not paid, and is also accused of major human rights violations in their operations in the eastern part of the Congo. Caught in the middle of all of this are the civilians. Some 800,000 people have been displaced over the years in the eastern Congo because of the many rounds of conflict in this destabilized area. Oxfam says more than 100,000 people now need dire help in the coming days. Let's listen to some people just caught in the middle of this. Here's what they want coming from the leaders of the region.
The most important thing for us is peace. We want to go back to our homes because we grow our own food and do not depend on anyone. The food is too little here, and we are meant to share it for 3 days.
We want to go back home. We want our children to go back to school. Our children are just suffering here at this camp.
Eastern Congolese will often tell you, John, that they don't really care who's in charge as long as there is some kind of peace and services. There's a rising tide of anger in Goma that banks haven't opened, water supply is dodgy, electricity hasn't come back since the fighting. So M23 will have an administrative headache on top of all this other things they are dealing with, and that midnight deadline is looming today in the Eastern Congo.